Hi BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I am coming to you with my weekly reads video for week 52. We have one more week left of the year, you guys. So they do count, I think because there was a leap year this year, that there is actually 53 weeks this year in the calendar if you look. And I think it's mostly because next week only has 2 days in January. So I guess they consider it to still be part of 2020. So next week will be the final wrap up for 2020. But it may, depending on how much I can get read, it may include a book finished in 2021, but we shall see. I'm not jumping the gun just yet. So yes, the Christmas tree is still up. I am filming this, of course, the day that it goes up. So this is being filmed on the 27th. The tree will stay up till next Saturday. I've decided next Saturday I'm going to take the tree down, take the decorations out of here. I am going to leave up the Christmas lights though. You can't see them, but they are around my window and they kind of go here. I might actually drape them more down the bookcase just to have up because the lights just make me happy. No matter spring, summer, fall, Christmas, it doesn't matter. And especially in the winter, you know, after the holidays, it's just... I'm one of those people who gets the Christmas blues when it's all over because there's such a buildup and so much. And this year was, you know, a lot different than years prior. And the thing is that, especially where I live in the Northern Hemisphere and being in Canada, that we are just getting into winter. Winter is just starting. And there's going to be a lot of dark and cold nights in the months to come. And to have those lights just makes me happy. So that's why part of the reason I'm going to leave them up as well. So that's neither here nor there. So this I do not predict being a very long video. I got 2 books done this week. Very pleased with that. Both of them were a bit of a struggle. One of them I actually contemplated on DNFing both of them, but I ended up finishing both of them. So I am happy about that. You know, not that I'm saying that you shouldn't, but I've always had an issue. I really have to dislike a book to DNF it. And I think at the point that I was at, I was just kind of like over both of these books, like just like I'm done. But one was on audio, so it was pretty easy just to pop in and listen to while I was out and about. And then the other one was for the book club. And I kind of wanted to get it done because it was for the book club kind of an idea. But anyway, that's okay. So I have that to talk about, those 2 books. And then I have a small little book haul here. It's not books that I got for Christmas or anything like that. These are books that have come in the mail over the last couple weeks that I haven't shown you guys. So they're used Harlequins, but I'm super excited about showing them to you. And then I have a little bit of knitting, and then I'll talk about kind of what's been going on around here over the last week or so. Because we just did have Christmas, so happy holidays, everybody, if you celebrate it. And like I said, I'll talk about that towards the end. So the first book that I finished this week was All I Want for Christmas by Jenny Hale. This is a standalone novel. This was the one for the book club, for the Book Sisters book club that I co-host with Brie and Chloe. We had our discussion video about it yesterday here on my channel. I'll leave a link to it below in case you are interested to go to see it. We only talk about the book for about the first half an hour or so, and then after that it's kind of general goals chatter and things like that. So, you know, if you want, please go check it out. But yeah, this one was the story of Leah. She's a single mom of a little girl named Sadie, and growing up, she was always under the impression that she was going to inherit her grandmother's grand plantation estate. The grandmother passes away, and she finds out that she only inherited half of it. This guy by the name of David inherited the other half of it. So my issue with this one was it was boring, guys. It was so boring. And we talked about this yesterday in the discussion video. Were we bored? Like, because it wasn't just me. Chloe and Brie kind of felt the same way, that, you know, we're kind of at the point now, we read so many Christmas romance novels that we're always expecting a little bit more. This one was totally predictable. I found it very repetitive. I didn't even much like our main character, Leah. I know we were supposed to feel sorry for her because she was a single mom, didn't make a lot of money. You know, this house was going to be a big change and give them a place to live. But my thing was, that we didn't talk about yesterday in the group discussion, is that she had planned on opening this house up to weddings and other events, and that's how she was going to maintain the house, and that's all well and good. But what if that doesn't fly? How do you plan on maintaining this massive home, heating it, cooling it, cleaning it, you know, like that, when you're struggling with a little rental that you and your daughter have? You know, she wants to finish her degree and things like that, so I get it. And David's a lot more wealthy, and he offers to buy her out. And of course, you know, romance ensues between the two of them. But like I said, this one I just found very, very repetitive. This was very much a Hallmark movie, and I'm not the biggest fan of the Hallmark movies. I mean, I don't mind them. There's nothing inherently wrong with them, but they are very, very much, again, that repetitive nature. You know what you're getting into when you're watching a Hallmark movie. This felt the same way to me. This was your atypical Christmas romance, and we talked about how difficult, it is in a way to write the Christmas romances because there's only so many tropes that you can possibly use. Someone dies and leaves you an inn, or you've got one character who's a Grinch and one who's a Christmas lover, and there are some holiday books that I've read that have really done it well, but there are some that are not so great. They're more filler, or the Christmas only happens at the very end of the book. I've read a couple of those this year, which was very disappointing. And that's more on the marketing than on the author themselves. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I think originally I'd given this one 3 stars. I'm actually probably dropping it down to a 2.5, because it just did not wow me, really. And it's a book, and Chloe and I talked about this because, it'll be one of those books that I'll look back on and be like, oh yeah, I read that book. Like it's a forgettable book, unfortunately. The other book that I read was not so forgettable, but there were some issues I had with the main character. And that the other book that I finished this week was Winston Falls by Brenna Novak, which is the second book in the Whiskey Creek series. This is a small town contemporary romance series that I love very, very much. It's an older series. I think it's actually done now. Like, there's no more new books. She's writing other new series now. But this one is the story of Cheyenne. And Cheyenne had a very, very difficult time growing up. She was raised by a mother who was never around, or, the mother drank, or they moved from town to town. It was her and her older sister Presley. So on the back of the book, when you read it, and I know a lot of people don't read like what the book's about, but in this one it talked about the relationship between her and this guy named Dylan, who's like a guy from the wrong side of the tracks kind of a character. He does not make an appearance until a quarter of the way through the book. And essentially my biggest issue with Cheyenne is that she seemed very, very flaky to me. Like, she'd been in love with this guy, Joe, since she was 14 years old, since he kind of, quote unquote, came to her rescue for something, or took her under his wing. Like, he was a senior in high school and she was a freshman, and they were new and, kind of from the wrong side of the tracks. And her mother wasn't a very great stand-up citizen kind of an idea. And he still befriended her and was nice to her. And she was best friends with his younger sister. And now her other best friend, Eve, has the hots for Joe and wants to ask him out. So the first quarter of the book is Cheyenne dealing with this, that her best friend kind of wants him, and she's going to step away because she doesn't want to ruin her friendship. And then she finds out that Joe actually likes her and not Eve. This is the first quarter of the book. We haven't even met the male lead. So she's been pining and pining and pining, and also saving herself for probably Joe. Like, she wouldn't come out and say, she was saving herself for Joe, but she's like, which there's nothing wrong with it, but she's still a virgin and all these things. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. And then she meets Dylan, and literally, she's met Dylan before. They grew up in this, they are both residents in the same small town. They're familiar with each other. They're not strangers, let's put it that way, but they're not exactly friends. So they end up meeting at this park one night just by chance, and he in a way propositions her, and she takes him up on it. So you've been saving yourself for this guy who now actually likes you, and you go off with this. It just seemed very weird and very out of character to me. The relationship between Cheyenne and Dylan, I didn't love. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was about it. Nothing was wrong with either of them, or nothing was wrong with them together. But the relationship itself I found a little bit boring. Now, over all of this that's happening, it's happening during the Christmas season. Her mother is dying of cancer. And the mother is not the nicest person. So, your empathy is definitely more with Cheyenne and her sister Presley, over the death of their mother. But only to find out, and you start to get hints of this right through from the beginning of the book, so this isn't a spoiler, is that was Cheyenne actually abducted, and this isn't really her real mother. And that plot line I found so much more interesting than the romance itself. The romance was weak compared to the other plot line of the mother and the potential abduction and stuff like that. And the sister struggles heavily with drugs. So, this isn't your light and fluffy Christmas romance. There are some very, very difficult topics in this one. and Brenda Novak did them well. It's just for a romance, this one fell flat for me. I gave this one 3 stars. I might raise it up to a 3.5, mainly because I did like the other elements of the story, and I like the fact that she didn't shy away from tackling some very difficult issues, especially in a book that takes place over the holidays. I find that a lot of authors will shy away from those kind of things if it's a holiday type release. But yeah, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it. And it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's the second book now I've read in the Whiskey Creek series. I'm kind of jumping around a bit in the series. And I don't know if I really enjoyed the first one either, like the first one I read, which is further along in the series. So yeah, we shall see. I'm going to continue on. Brenda Novak is generally an author I enjoy, and I'm reading another book by her right now as well. So I'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, I like that she doesn't make everything just light and fluffy. And I mean, it was good. I liked it. And then the narration, I listened to it on audio from my library, and it was quite good. The narration was really good. So my current reads. I am currently reading The Christmas Backup Plan by Lori Wilde. I think this is the 11th book in the Twilight, Texas series. So yes, I'm still reading Christmas books. I have this one I want to finish, the audiobook I'm listening to, and there's one more I'd like to get to before the end of Thursday, which is, of course, New Year's Eve. So we shall see if I can do it. This is not a terribly long book, but I've only gotten this far in 2 days. Like, I just haven't been reading over the last couple days. There's been kind of a lot of stuff going on around here. So, like I said, I'll talk about that briefly. But I would like to get a good chunk of this done today. And then I want to be able to start the other book maybe tomorrow, and that'll give me like 4 days to finish that one. So we shall see. The last one that I want to read this year is A Highlander is Coming to Town by Laura Trentham, which is the 3rd book in the Highland, Georgia series. And I want to finish that one because I've read the first 2 books this year. So I'd like to start and finish a series this year. So I'm looking forward to that one very much. But yes, this one I am enjoying. It is a Christmas road trip romance novel, and it's about our main character, Aria, and Remington is his name, or Remy, as he goes by. And she suffered a fall. She fell from the hayloft trying to string holiday lights, and she suffered a concussion. And she needs to drive the 8 or 10 hours from where they live in Texas to Twilight, Texas to she is a wedding planner. So there's a wedding happening, and she needs to kind of be there for the wedding. And her doctor has put her under strict orders that she cannot drive because of this potential concussion. So Remington is kind of, told, you're going to go do this because you have nothing else to do. He's just been released from the army about 6 months ago. He suffered an injury, and he lost these 2 fingers off of his left hand in a parachuting accident. And yeah, it's the 2 of them in this car, and they're driving to Twilight, Texas. And like I said, I'm only about 3 chapters in. I'm only about 3 chapters in. That they're still on the road, and there's an ice storm coming. So they're going to have to pull over and spend the night in a hotel together. Stuff happens, and then the story goes from there. So far I'm really enjoying this one. It's a cute little edition. I just absolutely love it. The cover, it just makes me so happy. And I think I showed this before, but I have to show it again because this makes me so happy. More contemporary romance novels need a step back. Now, this doesn't have a true step back with it being right here, but it's got it right there. Isn't that awesome? I love that. I've only ever seen it in a couple of Jill Shalvis novels as well. So I wish more contemporary, though, would have a true step back, like you see in a lot of historical romance, because I think that would be absolutely delightful. So yeah, so I'm enjoying that one. The other one that I'm currently reading, I'm listening to it, is A California Christmas by Brenda Novak. As I already said, I was listening to another Brenda Novak. This is a book in the... Is this part of the Silver Spring series? I think so. And I don't know what number it is. I can't remember. But in this one, I don't remember our main character's names. Grace? Is it Grace? Dylan? Dallas? I can't remember. Anyway, our main character, our female lead, this takes place in California. And she was a on-air news reporter personality, like a morning show kind of person. And she was involved in a sex scandal with her coworker. And he released a videotape of the 2 of them online, and the 2 of them ended up getting fired. And she's really mad because it's wrongful dismissal, like he was part of it too. And then he ended up getting his job back, so she hasn't. So she's kind of gone to this friend's house to lick her wounds, if you will, and try and figure out what she wants to do next. Her parents are in the middle of a divorce, and her grandmother has Alzheimer's. So again, as I said about Brenda Novak already, she's not shying away from these very difficult topics. And so our main character is trying to decide what to do. And she runs, I think his name is Dallas. And she meets back up with Dallas. And of course, it's going to be a relationship between the two of them. My goal is to finish this one by Thursday. So I plan this will be my last audiobook for the year. But as I'm not driving into work that much this week, only one day this week, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, it's good so far. I'm liking it. So we will, I'll report back next week on how I'm enjoying it. And I do already have the first 2 books that I plan on reading in January picked out, but I will probably share that with you guys next week. So yeah, or actually I might even just share that in my TBR coming on Tuesday. So yeah, I'll do that on Tuesday. I'll talk about those. So yeah, so that's all that I'm currently reading. That's all the bookish type stuff. Like I said, I do have a couple of books here I got in the mail over the last few weeks that I haven't shown you guys yet. And these are all not only first editions, but first in series. And I'm so excited. So first in lines and first in Harlequin imprints. So I've been kind of hunting out the first in the imprints if I don't have them. And I've gotten lucky. So the first one is a Harlequin Temptation. This, excuse me, at the time, no, it was the Harlequin Temptation line. This is book number 1. And it is called Spring Fancy by Laverne Spencer. And this was originally published in, what year was this originally published in? Sorry, guys. March of 1984. I was 3. This came out. And I posted this on Instagram. And, oh, who was the author? Was it Melinda Curtis? Oh, there's a couple different authors who follow me on Instagram, which is just so exciting, who was talking about we got into a discussion about some of Laverne Spencer's old writing, and she was telling me which books were her favorites and things like that. So I'm excited about eventually getting to this one. The Temptation line is long gone. It's been gone for a number of years now. And it was replaced in a way by the Blaze line, which is also no longer, it's also now gone. So this has been gone for a while, and I really liked the Temptation line. It very much was very similar to me to the Blaze line with that, it was fun, it was flirty, and, it was a little bit sexy. On the back here it says, the new compelling stories of passionate romance for today's woman in 1984. So yeah, so I'm super stoked I was able to pick that one up on Book Outlet, or not Book Outlet, Thrift Books. I got that one on Thrift Books. And the other one, speaking of Blaze, you guys, oh my gosh, I got the first Blaze book, Notorious by Vicki Lewis Thompson. Now, when I did my bookshelf tour of the Blaze books, I showed the cover that was redone for this, that they put out as a commemorative edition when the series ended. And I do like that cover a bit more. And if you check out my Instagram, I have a picture of the 2 covers side by side. So yeah, so this one, I still have not read this one yet, but I'm happy now I have an original copy of it with the original cover so I can read it. And this one is from, what's the date on this one? 2001. I don't know what month, but it's from 2001. So yeah, yay, I'm glad I have that one. And last but not least, this is one of, and I'm so looking forward to getting to this series in the bookshelf tour when I get there. It's probably not going to be till March or April, based on the sheer amount of books I still have. Like, I'm just looking here. I've still got a lot of the historical, because I'm going in alphabetical order. So I have historicals, I have the intrigues, I have the medical romance, I have the Harlequin romance, I have the romantic suspense. And then we will get into the special editions, which are my favorite. So yes, this is number 1 in the Silhouette. It was called back then Silhouette, which was owned by Simon & Schuster. And they were then bought out by Harlequin and kept publishing under the Silhouette name or banner for a number of years. And then they eventually became Harlequin Special Edition. So if you look for them now, they're the ones with the blue cover. So these have been around for a while, you guys. So this is number 1, which is Terms of Surrender by Janet Daly. Very exciting. Oh, I'm so happy to have this. And like the cover goes all the way onto the back. I love that. This got ripped. Stupid stickers. I hate the stickers. But regardless, I'm not buying these for any kind of monetary value to resell. These are literally for my collection. So I am absolutely happy that I have it. And this was published in 1982, the year my brother was born. they've been around for a while. So you figure 1982 was the first one. And it's now it's almost 40 years because my brother will be 40 next year in 2022. So yeah, this line has been around for almost 40 years. So that is pretty spectacular. So I'm super, super stoked that I have the first one. And again, another one I am very much looking forward to reading. So I'll show you guys my knitting, and then I will do a little bit of chatty bits about how my week's been going and what's kind of been going on around here. So first off, I do have two things on the needles right now. Something just got cast on yesterday because I have been doing nothing but sock knitting for almost the whole month of December, and I needed a break. I needed something different. But I did get a good chunk done in the sock. So when I showed you guys last time, I was there. So that's all I had done, was just that. I have now almost done. I think I have another inch to go on the foot and then the toe, and then I'm done this pair of socks. So I think I'll have them done in time for New Year's. That's my new goal now. So yeah. So New Year's is when I'm planning to get these ones done. Very happy with them. The yarn is from Ravenswood Fiber Company. I'll leave her linked below. And it's called Christmas Lights. I think it was a special Christmas one that was brought out. I think Rainy and I actually got the last two skeins of it because Rainy from over at Rainy Day Reads is knitting on these as well. And I'm knitting these on a US 1, in case you're curious, which on a single needle. I'm what they call magic looping this. So it's one needle for both. I have my little sheep stitch marker right there because he's super awesome. But yeah, so there is that. And like I said, my goal is to have that pair done by New Year's, so I'll have those to show you next week. So the other thing is I was in the mood to cast on a sweater. I had the sweater pattern, and I actually have the yarn for it, so it was kind of like, yes, let's cast on a sweater. So I am now going to be knitting, bear with, let me show you the front, a pattern called Ease by Alicia Plummer, which is one of my favorite designers, sweater designers. So there's the sweater itself. It's kind of got this like high neck here, you can see, with strings. I'm actually not doing that. There are two different options for this sweater. One is to not add that, and I don't like necks like that come up. I like, you know, stuff like, so that's essentially what I'm going to be doing with mine, is it's not going to have the neck, but it's just going to be like a very comfy, cozy, almost a sweatshirt kind of an idea feel to it. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about knitting this one. And I've only gotten just a little bit started. I started it yesterday. That's what I have done so far. Not terribly interesting. A boring gray yarn, but I love the color gray. Gray is my neutral of choice. If you can't tell, I wear a lot of gray. It just kind of goes with everything, and it's not as harsh as black. But yeah, so far so good. And I will, of course, show you guys more progress on that next week. So that's pretty much about it. Chatty bits. Christmas was good. I mean, it was what it was. You know, this was not a typical Christmas for anybody, right? And, you know, we missed family members, both family members that were with us, but not with us. Like, they're still here, but we couldn't see them in person and hug them and stuff like that. And then, of course, there are the people that we lost since last year. So yeah, we went over, sorry, the cat just came in, he's having some breakfast. If you can hear the crunching. So yeah, so I mean, we went over to see my aunt, and we had a nice turkey dinner here, just the three of us, me, my mom, and my husband. I was in a very, very minor car accident on the 23rd. I took my husband over to the store. We had to go over, and I was backing, and it was so funny. When I got to the parking lot, I'm like, I should really back the car into this spot. I'm like, no, it'll be fine, right? As I'm backing out, I'm paying close attention. I don't have a backup camera or anything like that. I am old school. My mother has a backup camera in her car, and I don't use it. I don't like it. When you're used to doing it the old school way of actually looking, this is just my opinion. You know, so I was checking all my mirrors and behind me, and I wasn't going very fast. I mean, I barely touched the gas. And as I'm backing out, I looked, turned back, and bam. So I pulled the car back into the spot, and I was so mad. I'm like, really? Without fail, I just finished paying off my car. So yay, I have a paid off, I own my car now. I'm not financing it anymore or anything like that. It's mine officially. And this always happens with my last car that I had. I was in a major accident 2 months after I finished paying it off. Some guy sideswiped me and the car was written off. And then I had to get this car. So I'd only been like not making car payments for 2 months before I had to get a new car. And that was my first thought. I'm like, you know, like I just paid this thing off. So I get out of the car and I look, and there's, I mean, I wasn't going fast at all. It was like, you know, right? And this other woman's just sitting in her car. So what happened was I was backing out of the spot and I was at the end of a row. She came flying around the corner into our lane, and that's when I hit her, right? So she knew she was at fault. And, you know, now the fact I was reversing, I think may have technically made it my fault. I don't know how that works, but there was witnesses. She was still in the wrong, right? As there was a ton of people out in the parking lot. And people had, of course, stopped to see what was going on. So she got out of her car and she looks at her car and she looks at my car, and it was just my bumper. Like a big bumper on the back. And it was like literally like the dust had been moved around or something. There was no dent. There's no nothing, no crack, no anything. And she looks at me, she goes, no damage. And hers was like partially dented in, right on the passenger side door area. And I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, Merry Christmas, see ya. So she left, and I swear I got back in my car, backed out. She was gone, like disappeared. Like I didn't see where she had parked. She took off. I think she went somewhere else because I don't know. Anyway, so that was that. That was the big excitement. The other thing that happened on Tuesday, was it Monday or Tuesday of last week, was announced that the province of Ontario is completely locking down fully for 28 days. So my manager called me and my coworker on Wednesday. We had a three-way, like a conference call. And I'm only going into work 2 days a week now. And a lot of the office is going to be working. Most of the office is going to be working from home most of the time. They want skeleton staff in. We don't have anybody coming in for any reason, but they still want bodies in the office, which is fine. So I'm going into work on Mondays and Wednesdays. But then I'll be working from home the other days. And this will be until about the end of January. So right now they're saying 28 days. I mean, who knows? That might be extended. We don't know. So anyway, it is what it is. So next week, I only go into the office on Wednesday. I'm working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I'm only going in on Wednesday. So that's not too bad. But yeah, so that's about it. That's all the chatty bits. That's the video. A little bit longer than I anticipated, but you know, we got chatty in this one, so that's okay. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you all had a very happy holiday, or a good, an enjoyable Friday if you don't celebrate. And New Year's is coming up very quickly, so the next time I sit down here for a weekly reads, it will be 2021. But I do have, of course, some videos coming out before then. On Tuesday, I'm going to film this next, will be my TBR. And then on Thursday, a lot of you requested when I did my my discussion about my goals, that a lot of you did ask for me to do my pre-order video for January. So I am going to be doing that on New Year's Eve. And I do plan on vlogging starting on New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then the Saturday and Sunday. So I'll be doing a 4-day long vlog, which will go up a week from Tuesday. So it's in the future. But yeah, so I am looking forward to doing that as well for you guys, because I think I vlogged last New Year's Eve and it was really fun, because I think I was like rushing to get a book done or something like that. So I have a feeling that might be the case again this year, but we shall see. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. I will talk to you in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.